Let's talk about it. Soft skills. Soft skills definitely pay the bills, okay? We are in a time when, whether it is your own business, entrepreneurship, freelancing, side gig, or working for someone else, and often in today's world, many of us are doing both, right? And so we are in this time when AI is emerging and is emerging very, very quickly. A lot of people are afraid of AI taking their jobs. And we've already discussed it multiple times that the best way to play offense on this is to upskill. And one of the areas that is being spoken loudly about that there are deficiencies is in quote unquote soft skills. So today I want to talk to you about how to develop your soft skills, how to even identify your areas of weakness and improve on those soft skills so that you can compete. And we all know that in order to compete, you do need to know sales and marketing. Sales and marketing are not necessarily soft skills, but when you become really good at sales and marketing, you actually improve some of your soft skills like communication, okay? Because marketing and sales are largely about communication because it's about messaging, right? Not just from a public relations standpoint, but as I talk about in the video that I put on my page this morning, your ideal client needs to be able to connect with you in a way that makes them feel seen, heard, and acknowledged. Okay. And so when you do that, that's how you create connection. And that connection is what creates the know, like, and trust. And a lot of navigating your career, whether it is, like I said, your own business side gig, freelancing, or a corporate job, or even for a small business, is going to rest in your ability to be an effective communicator, to be an effective leader, right? To be able to take initiative, to be able to identify trends, to be able to problem solve, okay? And one of the books that I would definitely recommend is anything on the Strengths Finder, okay? Anything on Strengths Finder. I took my Strengths Finder the first time in 1999. I know, the late 1900s. Some of you watching this may not have even been born yet. But what Strengths Finder does is it allows you to take this quiz, and there's been multiple iterations of the book since then, so you can go and look for Strengths Finder and you will be able to find the latest version and the latest test because it has been updated, and that's one of the things that I like it. But what it does is it helps you identify your strengths and really hone in on those strengths. But we also, like I said, live in a world where you can't just survive off of strengths alone. For example, if you are a horrible communicator, you got to be like the top, like 1%, less than 1% in your field for people to be able to want to put up with you. Okay. So, and I know there are some things happening in current events that kind of negate that. I get that. But knowing what you are really good at, what your strengths are, is going to give you the confidence and will embolden you in those areas. And then you can also still on the back end work on some of those other things. Okay. So before we get too far, I probably should introduce myself. My name is Tamari Hamilton. I am a 32-year sales and marketing and leadership veteran. I have worked with and for some of the biggest companies and brands that are out there. I have built high performing sales teams that surpass and blow away goals. I have developed some of the best salespeople in their field, and I also have been a top performing salesperson, and I am a kick-ass digital marketer, if I say so myself. I have the client testimonials, I have the sales, I have the everything to match up with that. In fact, a lot of y'all show up in my inbox saying you really like how I market, but just understand, flattery does not mean you're going to get my help and assistance for free, because when you are really good at what you do, you have to be very persnickety with your time. You have to really be a good steward of where you're spending your time. Okay. And it doesn't mean that you're not worth it. So how I serve you is I come on live and I, give these tips and this information. So if you are watching, make sure you click up here and you hit that red button to follow me, okay? And also even turn on that button so that you get notifications when I am live, because sometimes I get on these lives and I get to talking and I give it all away. And so that means that I can't make it available publicly. I have to put that in my vault until I decide how I am going to monetize it, or if I'm going to add it to an existing course or program or mastermind. Okay, so a lot of times you have to catch it while it's live. Okay, you have to catch it while it's live. Now, I do have a very vast library over on YouTube. So if you go up here, you will get over to my profile and you can go over there and subscribe over there, as well as IG. I'm not as active over there as much these days. You can definitely check out my stories. But I have a very vast library that goes back for pretty much a decade of content over there. Some of it I should probably hide because I probably would be embarrassed of the way that I look. Okay. So when we talk about soft skills, one of the ones that I see from, the content that I see online is definitely communication, right? Because especially when we communicate in a way that is a lot different than mainstream USA, right? We are very direct. I talk about that all the time. Like, I grew up in a household, like, if your breath stank, you're just going to be told that your breath stinks, and you gotta, have tough skin, and you go brush your teeth, and all is well. It doesn't mean they hate you. It doesn't mean you are being picked on. It's just, I love you. Your breath stinks. Go fix that. Right. And unfortunately in corporate America, in dealing with clients, you can't just talk to people like that. And one of the things we're seeing with Gen Z is they just don't have the communication skills. And I think some of that is just not their fault. They don't know what to say or how to say it. And so there is this book. Let me see if it's in here. There's this book. I bought it years ago in corporate America because I was actually dealing with the same thing. Okay. It's called What to Say at Work. You gotta put an A in there. I thought that's what it's called. What to Say at Work. Let's try something else here. It can take up to 24 hours for you to get in. And I have no control over that. I'm not one of the co-creators. Okay, it's called How to Say It at Work. And this is the cover right there. How to Say It at Work. That book is incredible, okay? Because here, let me look at the, okay, so chapter 1, how good are you at putting yourself across, right? So it's going to give you very different scenarios, several different scenarios to communication, right? So putting yourself across to get a job, putting yourself across to basically to supervisors, to your boss, right? Putting yourself across to customers, putting yourself across to colleagues, right? One of the things you may deal with is people who constantly want to try and use the 48 laws of power, which is to get you to do their work for them. Always get others to do the work and you take the credit, right? And so with that being said, you need to learn how to push back, for example. This book is a great way to do that. One of the things that I remember from here is there are like 12 steps to nonverbal communication. And a lot of it is how you walk into a room. So this book is, I think, it's an older book. Some of these are older books, but they are going to be very crucial to helping you hone up your skills, right? Once I got a hold of this book and started reading it and applying it, because remember, it's Invest, Learn, and Teach, that notebook faded. I used that because I took vicious notes on this book, right? And that notebook, the ink faded because that's how much I used it over my corporate career, which spanned for like 20 years. Okay. So here, what are these 12 steps called? So nonverbal vocabulary. So here is a checklist to help you think about, develop, and hone your nonverbal vocabulary. Okay, so like step 1 is make an effective entrance. Step 2 is walk tall, even if you're short. So hold your head up, shoulders down and back, so you're not hunched over, which sometimes I do on video, right? Enter with a purpose, right? And you will become so fluid and natural at this that even when you are walking into stores, when you are walking into church, people will stop, pay attention, and notice you, right? And that is a good thing, okay? So your appearance and how you walk in a room, how you sit at the table is very important, because 93% of communication is non-verbal. It's your facial expressions, okay? We are moving into a time when RBF is not going to be your best friend. RBF, you're going to have to learn how to think what you're thinking on the inside, but no one can ever know it, right? That's another one from the 48 Laws of Power. What you think is nobody else's business, right? Nobody cares what you think. So keep your opinions pretty much to yourself, and not only keep your opinions to yourself, but really move in such a way that no one knows what you're thinking, and that way you have a lot more political sway and power, because they don't really know what you're thinking. Nobody can pinpoint what you're saying, right? Like, you know, I know a lot of people, myself included, have decided to end relationships based on you know, the way that people voted. Well, there are people that from their timelines, you have no idea of the way that they voted. And that's fine. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. Okay. So there are those 12 steps, and it also gives you a list of words for each of the scenarios. So words to use with your boss, words to use to get the job, words to use with your colleagues, words to use with customers, and then not only with your boss, for example, but, you know, how to ask for more money, how to do this. So it's very, very specific, and I definitely recommend this book. Let me go back and I can tell you who wrote it. It is by Jack Griffin. I knew that. I don't know why I had to look at it. By Jack Griffin. It is an older book. I'm sure it has been updated since then. It also gives you things to avoid as well. This is a great book for your communication skills, okay? Now, before we go any further, I also want to point out that you can use ChatGPT to help you with this, right? You can use ChatGPT to, you know, I don't want to say to skip reading the book, because I think you definitely should get the book, but you can use ChatGPT to say, okay, this is what I'm struggling with, and I would like to use the wisdom from How to Say It at Work by Jack Griffin and develop a plan to get better at this, okay? And that's with any of these books. ChatGPT and AI is your friend. So it's not about losing your job to AI, it's how do you use AI to become better at not only your hard skills, but also the soft skills. I use it a lot, like, you know, because sometimes my visceral reaction is I want to punch somebody in the throat. I want to kick them in the throat, right? Not literally, but you know, there's ways you can do that without doing it physically. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I have to sometimes suppress that, because people really get out of pocket and they are trying to get a reaction out of you. And the worst thing you can do is give them the reaction that they are seeking. And so having something like ChatGPT, you can have the app right in the palm of your hand on your phone, and you can figure out how to write that email, what to say in that email, and even what to say verbally. Because has this ever happened to you? It has certainly happened to me, where I was making sure I don't have lipstick on my teeth, where, you know, you have a conversation with somebody. I was with a bunch of my cousins and we were talking about this recently, where sometimes it doesn't hit me until after the conversation. Oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. And I take note of that sometimes mentally and even physically, so that the next time a situation like that comes up, I am prepared with my comeback and what to say. Okay, because there are definitely ways to tell people off with corporate speak. There are also whole accounts on the Clock app around how to say things in corporate speak, right? Like how to tell somebody you're not staying late after work every day, right? How to tell somebody to do their own work, you're not doing their work, and how to do it in such a way that you are safe, right? So that you're not getting calls from HR and that, okay? So you're not getting called in the office, so that's not showing up on your performance review, which can impact your pay. So that is, actually, we've talked about 3 books already. We talked about the 48 Laws of Power. That is like a Bible. That like, and it's not about using power in the book, anything, just like the Bible can be used for good or bad, right? But what I'm saying is my intention is not about you using it to, you know, to nefariously acquire power, but you need power, even if it's your own power, right? Because your confidence is going to be tied into and locked to your own feeling of power, right? Do you have self-power? Do you feel confidence? Confidence is a form of power. So having the 48 Laws of Power as a way to build that confidence is something that I definitely recommend, right? Any of his books, the 28 Strategies for War, great one. You'll often hear me refer to coming up off the battlefield and scanning and figuring out what's the little hinge that swings a big door, right? What's the little thing that I can do right now in this moment that's going to have a huge, huge impact, okay? And so where I got that strategy, and it's really not even one of the stratagems, it's just talked about in the in very early on in the 28 Strategies for War. So one thing about me, I have a very vast library, both physical and digital. I have notebooks that are really old, and I go back and I refer that stuff, because that is what a good professional and practitioner does, whether it be a doctor, a lawyer, and even a pastor. They go back, they seek wisdom. They seek wisdom. They don't just rely on themselves. They seek wisdom. They seek counsel. And it's not always counsel from a colleague. It's not always counsel from a mentor that's physical or an advisor. Sometimes it is seeking wisdom and counsel from text. And to me, that makes for a really strong and powerful leader. Okay, so the 48 Laws of Power, How to Say It at Work by Jack Griffin. What was another book I referred to? You know, the 28 Strategies for War is along with the 48 Laws of Power. But there was another book that I mentioned, but you can just rewind and you can go find that, because I don't think I've even been on here all that long yet. Okay, so those 3. Oh, the StrengthsFinder 2.0, or first discover your strengths, and then the second book was discover your strengths, and then something about break all the rules and then discover your strengths. It's by StrengthsFinder 2.0 is Tom Rath. Okay, so let's go through here again. Oh, another great one by Robert Greene, who wrote the 48 Laws of Power, is The Art of Seduction. That is a great book, right? And I don't even just mean from like a Shira 7 standpoint. I mean, it's just a great book to learn that your communication cannot just be one way. Like, you have to learn how to bend and flex depending on who you are talking to. And that is also part of marketing and sales. You have to know your audience and know what to say and how to say it to them to drive them to action. Now, some would call that manipulation, and I guess technically it is. But again, are you using it for their good, or are you using it for their bad? Okay. Let's see here. What else? There's another one on body language by Griffin. I'll have to find that one, and it's something like body language for dummies or something like that. But it's how I know that 93% of communication is nonverbal, right? It's your tone, it's your cadence, it's are you smiling, right? That's one thing I've seen women do in workplace. They will cut you and do it with a smile. And do it with a smile, right? Because you might be, especially like in the workplace, you might say the same thing as a colleague, and you can't say it, but they can say it and get away with it. Now, sometimes they'll tell you it's with a smile just because they said it with a smile. Sometimes it's just honestly the messenger. Sometimes no matter what you say, because it's coming from you and who it's aimed at, is going to be a problem. So just keep that in mind. And that's when you might need to know to move around. Time to start looking for a new job, right? Or even switch departments, switch bosses, because you might be in a no-win situation. So you have to know that. And that's where having that physical mentor that you can talk to comes in handy. And I said body language was by Griffin, and it's not. Because Jack Griffin did the how to say it at work. I should have brought my laptop over here. But I'll figure it out. Plus, I mean, and it's an older book, but just go find you a book on body language. Get you a book on body language. I love this book though, because it's where I learned how to not show what I was thinking on my face. That's why I love this book. Hold on, I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna go get my laptop because, yeah, that's how I learned that. It was inside of that book. I'm back already. Okay, so this bag over here. And let's find this book, because that was one of the number one things that helped me in my corporate career, was being able to know that. So let's come over here to Amazon and go through my order history, because I ordered it a long time ago. Oh, geez. I've read some of everything, but if you want to become a great leader, definitely invest in reading. Try to read at least a book a month. Oh my God, why is this not coming up? I will figure it out. I will figure it out and I will get back to you. So I wish it would just give me like all my history, like point blank period and the discussion, but it wants to only go back to certain days and all of that. So let's see if I can find it and buy it again. No. I can see, it's annoying me because I can see the cover. I can literally see the cover. I'm gonna go to 2010. Because, I mean, I bought this book like in the early 2000s. So I'm looking for it and it's driving me crazy, but it may have been, you know, something from that's not even in print anymore. Yeah, forget it. Okay, so body language, right? You have to learn. It is so imperative because even on Zoom, right? Like, I will make up an excuse to get off of Zoom, meaning like turn my camera off, like, oh, you know, I had to sneeze or something, right? Because I won't lie. Like, there are certain people. Am I the only one who sometimes has to mute certain people on Zoom? Like, I just cannot stand the sound of their voice. I don't want to hear what they're saying. That like the person who is running the meeting in the first 30 minutes are their personal problems. Like, that is such a power move to make people have to come to a meeting that first of all could have been an email and then spend even 10 minutes talking about your personal problems and going through all your medical health history and stuff. Like, I can't stand that. I absolutely cannot stand that, especially because I know it's a power move. You're doing it because you can, because you dreamed your entire life of being the person at the front of the room holding the meeting, and you know everybody has to be there because you are in charge, and you're going to waste everybody's precious time talking about your personal business, right? That's not cool. That's not cool, like, at all. Okay. So now my iPad is over there with my Kindle library. Okay. So other books for I mean, those are definitely the big ones on communication. Other books I would recommend are Crucial Conversations. And it looks like they even have an online course. But Crucial Conversations, let's see, by Joseph Grenny and Carrie Patterson. They have Crucial Conversations and Crucial Conflicts. Get those books today. Get those books today because they are going to help you with difficult conversations. Because that is something that I struggled with because my life example, not just in the home, but as a Black woman, people talk to you differently than they talk to other people, especially women, right? They treat them with more of kid gloves than they will you. They will say things a lot softer to them than they will to you. And so you can't just go based off of, this is one of the mistakes I made in my career. You can't talk to people based on the way that people have talked to you, especially if you are a Black woman. You can't, right? You can't. Because they know how to talk to you in a way that keeps them safe, but makes it sting to you. And that it just becomes normalized to you because you've dealt with it your entire life. And so that is why Crucial Conversations and Crucial Conflicts is important, because you can then learn how to have those crucial and those conversations where there's conflict and be able to do it in such a way that keeps you safe. Okay? I will tell you that from the two of these books, one of the things I've learned is I, especially when it comes to difficult conversations, if you can at all possible, don't do those in what's called spontaneous communication, meaning it's just on the fly. Try to buy some time so that you can prepare that conversation, so you can kind of anticipate what is going to be said and practice what your comeback is going to be, right? It is where I learned to ask someone, well, what would you have me do? Right? How to neutralize the other person so that they can see like, hey, we are on the same team. We are trying to achieve the same thing here. So give me feedback. What would you have me do? And it's not that, I want to make it clear, it's not like I went into corporate America with bad communication skills, because I didn't, right? I didn't. Chances are you don't have bad communication skills, but it's like anything else. It is like a muscle. You have to develop it. Okay, you have to develop it. Things are going to always come up, and you have to get better and better and better at it, because as you rise and rise and rise, not only in corporate America, but even as a freelancer, as a digital marketer, as a business owner, as the CEO of your company, more and more of what you do is going to be communication as the face of your company. And so you have to know how to talk to people. For example, you could be on a panel and somebody could try to get out of pocket from the audience. I was on a panel and I was asked a question, and as I'm opening my mouth to answer it, the person 2 people down from me is speaking over me, right? And so that's where I love where we saw the example of, excuse me, I'm speaking, right? It's great to have that example. And let me tell you, y'all have more than I had back in 1996 coming right out of college. Y'all had more than I had in 2000, in 2006, in 2009. Y'all have more than I had. All I had was books. All I had was, I didn't really even have mentors that I could go to, because a lot of them people was the enemy, okay? So Crucial Conversations is it's called Crucial Conversation Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High, okay? Let's see what it says for crucial conflicts. Why is that not coming up? One is red, one is blue, I can tell you that. I have no idea why it's not coming up, but the Crucial Conflicts book is blue. There it is. It's Crucial Confrontations. I said conflicts. Crucial Confrontations. Tools for resolving broken promises, violated expectations, and bad behaviors. Okay. So I've been in management and leading people since when I was in high school. Like when I worked at McDonald's, I wasn't quite a supervisor, but I was a crew trainer. Right. And so when I was a manager in a particular company, I won't name the company or what I did, but I remember my bosses telling me, that not so much me, but my team needed accountability, to hold certain team members who were a problem accountable. Okay. So, they didn't tell me how though, right? They didn't tell me how. And so Crucial Confrontations began to be my tool for learning how to hold people accountable, because that's what it says. Tools for resolving broken promises, violated expectations, and just downright bad behavior. So highly, highly recommend those 2 books. And they were written like 20 years ago. However, they have a new one too. Crucial Accountability. I'm going to have to get that one, right? I'm going to have to definitely get that one. And that one came out in 2013. Okay, so you have to work on your soft skills. You can't just go based off of, oh, that's just how I am. That might work on social media, but it does not work in the real world. It does not, right? There are also books out there on customer service. I definitely recommend getting some of the books on customer service. You know, like I forget the book, but it's where, you know, I learned, you know, it's about having how you express empathy for the customer, right? I understand how you could feel that way, and here's what I can do to help you resolve that today. Because I will tell you, that is one place, baby, I'll shine, is the customer service skills, because customer service is largely problem solving, right? And I began to lean into my problem solving skills because it was one of my core 5 strengths when I took StrengthsFinder, right? And I recommend taking StrengthsFinder every few years, because as you matriculate through your career, different roles, different environments, different strengths will pop out, right? Mine has stayed pretty consistent throughout the years, and there are a few that have swapped out. But problem solving and relatability, you know, the ability to have empathy and relate to people, are 2 of my core strengths. Those have not changed at all. So knowing what you can lean in on and really give you the opportunity to shine and build your reputation, highly, highly recommend taking that StrengthsFinder. When you buy the book, you will get a code to be able to go online and log in and take the quiz, and it will give you what your outcomes are, and even help you with, you know, examples of how to use it and that. Okay. So what questions do you have? Your soft skills are going to make or break you. The one thing that they will get you on in your review to keep from paying you and giving you the biggest raise and giving you the biggest bonus, they're going to use your soft skills against you. I can tell you that right now. They will use your soft skills against you. If you are lacking in any way, shape, or form in communication, problem solving, initiative, that is where I remember my first job out of college, and I called them on this, right? My first job out of college, in my annual review is where it came up, and I'd never heard this was a problem before that, and I told them that, okay? And she had said something about attendance, but I wasn't like in a position where I could get written up about it, but I was basically doing what I saw her and her boss do. Right? When in Rome, you know, it seemed to be the culture that you could just call in. Like, I knew she would talk about she had been out with friends and had margaritas and then call in sick the next day. And while I was smart enough to not go out and have margaritas and then call in sick the next day, you know, it came up, and I was like, well, all you had to do was ever say something about that, and that would have been cleared up right away. But now it's on my review, and I don't appreciate that, right? I didn't quite say it that way, but that was the gist of it. So, because I really should have had a stellar review. And they told me that they don't really give out a lot of 5-star reviews. Like, that's just, they are not allowed to do that. She basically pretty much told me she knew I should be getting like a straight 5-star review across the board, and in so many words, but they had to come up with something so that I wasn't 5-star. And that's why I'm telling you, your soft skills are going to make the difference. You have to have the soft skills. It wasn't that my soft skills were bad. Your soft skills can always use some improvement. Believe me, trust me on this, okay? Your soft skills can always use some improvement, okay? So I'm probably gonna record this again. I'm gonna get my list of books together, and I might come back live later again and run through this list. So, because I really thought it was all on my iPad, but come to find out it's not. So, because, you know, I have a vast library, and actually I lost a bunch of books in a move a few years ago. But, so between my Kindle, with app on my iPad, and my physical library, things are all over the place. I bought books from Amazon. I bought them from Overstock. I bought them from Barnes and Noble. I bought them from, you know, everywhere. Borders books, because I'm a bookie. I love books. I've been a voracious reader since I was a child. But leaders are readers. Leaders are readers, right? When I'm out on walks, I've got podcasts in my ear. I've got audiobooks in my ear. Okay, that's the other thing. I got a lot of books on audio as well. I don't do so many physical books anymore because I would probably be like a hoarder. And I know somebody who is a hoarder and it's disgusting. So I don't want to be that. Okay, so I'm going to go grab some lunch and I will come back live again later and have that list more cleaned up for you and talk more about how it even relates to digital marketing. I can give you a list of books on so many different things because I've got a vast digital library book that I rely on, and I use it with ChatGPT too now, and it has my marketing has just, because I'm already a kick-ass marketer on my own, but between what I already know and then using that with ChatGPT, it's incredible. Very, very incredible and powerful. So I'm going to go. I will chat with you later. If you are not following me, make sure that you click up